right, good morning, guys. Good morning, Abuja. Good morning, Nigeria. You are locked into your number one African independent radio station, Radio Power 100.5 FM. And it's that time that we're going to take a look at the papers. It is 7:34 a.m. and I won't be doing that alone. I have very wonderful guys with me. This is the voice of Nice World, and I am with Chicks and Dima. Good morning, guys.
Of course, good morning and welcome back to the Abuja studio for the newspaper review.
Yeah, good morning. All right, start us off, nice one.
Okay, so starting off the papers, this is from Nigeria Pilots, topping the headline. SOAP ask National Assembly to withdraw Data Protection Amendment Bill. That story is on page 9. ADC says Tinubu's economic policies have deepened poverty. Do you agree? Read it on page 10. 3 young men die as vehicle crashes into bridge in Abuja. Ooh, that's a sad one. That's a CCN rejects FRSC bill, says ban on bus preaching violates constitution. I think it's about time there to something about that. That's on page 7. And insecurity, troops foil mass abduction, rescue 46 students of Federal Government Girls College, Malgona. ISWAP terrorists have attacked the school at about 1:30 a.m. in planned mass abduction. Access to the facility with assistance of suspected collaborators confronted by military superior power. They were forced to abandon their criminal mission. You can read all of that on page 8. Spain crowned world champions, page 8. NDLEA intercept 1.63 million naira tramadol pills hidden in trucks bound for Kano State. Stories on page 5. Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu governments place emergency response agencies on alert. That's concerning flooding. And Badajo Okusanya wins NBA presidential race, becomes second female president. That's on page 7. And that's about it on the Nigerian Pilots.
Right now to the Daily Independent, we have FG's dual track airport policy comes under scrutiny. Experts ask government to hands off non-aeronautical assets. One radar, navigation aids, runways are aging badly. NBA president, and he says ability. Page 7 read. Mandela's vision of egalitarian society broken, says CDD, ASU, others. Page 7. NRS gives large coins until July 31st for e-invoicing compliance. Page 6. LASU Prof. Akane to deliver 4th Latif Jakonde lecture Thursday. Page 7. Post-recapitalization, banks face challenge of turning capital into credit. Starts on front page, continues on page 29. Soldiers, policemen for ISWAP attack on Borno school, rescue 46 students. Page 6. SOAP asks NAS to drop social media shutdown bill or face lawsuits. Starts on front page, continues on page 6. And few marketers reveal why supply was temporarily halted. Starts on front page, continues on page 6 as well. That's the front page of the Daily Independent.
All right, before we move on to the Whistler newspaper, do not forget that we are live on YouTube and the handle is Ray Power Abuja. You can just watch the newspaper review there and share your comments in the comment section. Over now to the Whistler newspaper. Big story says Nigeria received $37.8 billion foreign aid in 10 years as poverty bites harder. And US, UK, Germany are among the biggest donors. Health, education, governance received largest share of the aid. Time for us to check and know what's happening with all of them. Well, that story is on page 7 of the Whistler this morning. And away from that is another account in Abuja, says inside Abuja General Hospital, where doctors close before 3 p.m. Heavy and weighty. That story you can read on page 3. FX market now liquid for minimal CBN intervention coming from the CBN Governor Cardozo. That is on page 9. Troops foil ISWAP's mass abduction plan at Borno Girls College. That's on page 14. And an account here that is quite sad says, my son changed after 56 days with bandits. Father of 2-year-old giving that account. And that story is on page 7. If you want to read in detail, rather on page 3 of the Whistler newspaper this morning. Battle for Niger insurance deepens as NICOM rejects management comeback. Read that on page 10. And that, among other stories, make up the front page of the Whistler this morning.
All right, now moving on to the Standard Times, we have Army dismantles illegal bunkering sites, arrest 6 suspects in Lagos. Stories on page 4. MUPRC to new oil license holders, develop assets fast, honor host community obligations, or risk losing licenses. Stories on page 3. Full list of winners as Badejo Okunsanya emerges first female president. NSA's dialogue initiative is fine opportunity award. Mosuptel Ogunis. Localized extension services can boost farm yield by 30% cut climate risk, says Nimet. And finally, Customs OK 7.61 billion naira pension benefits payouts to retirees as CGC assures improved welfare. Stories on page 7, and that's about it on the Standard Times.
All right, now to the New Telegraph. FG to raise another 729 billion naira bond to clear Genco's legacy debt. 501 billion naira bond issued in January 2026. Page 4. 2027 presidency, Tinubu, Obi, Atiku lead as candidates scramble for Southeast votes. Page 11. Sarah demands NAS withdrawal of social media shutdown bill. Page 2. Nigeria losing over 862 billion naira yearly to proliferation of over 900 NDAs. On page 3. Seizures are medical conditions, not spiritual attacks. Pediatricians there on page 30. Students killed, 46 rescued as troops foil ISWAP abduction attempt in Borno school. Pages 2 and 28 gives you a long insight into that. How Kalu others changed my view of APC by Canada-based Nigerian. Pages 4 and 5. Nigerians yet to enjoy Tinubu's economic reforms. Anglican Diocese there speaking, pages 4 and 7. We also have US launches strikes to punish Iran after 2 troops killed, page 4. Oyinkan Badejo is 33rd NBA president, page 3. Petrol price hits 1,239 naira per litre on product sale in dollars, page 25. And H126, improved allocation boosts all producing states' revenue by 10% to 870 billion naira as well. So starts on the front page, continues on page 3. That's the New Telegraph.
All right, now the disclosure news starts with the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria kicking as petrol importation soars. Once importation could affect price stability, and again marketers hike petrol pump price. How much have you been buying? Want to know that? That story is on page 2 of the disclosure news this morning. Now another matter close to it is the minimum wage. The Nigerian Labour Congress draws battle line with the federal government, charges workers, pensioners to prepare for total shutdown with federal government. Opens on the front page here, continues on page 2. And next to that story is on the flooding matter. Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu governments place emergency response agencies on alert on the matter. That's on page 6. Moving on to other stories here. Niger APC crisis. Information Minister Idris calls for reconciliation and for unity. Okay, that's a good move. That story is on page 7. Back to the FCT. Wike's FCT strides have exposed governors, says former Labour Party governorship candidate. That's on page 9, and that's about it from the disclosure news this morning.
Well, now to Al Jazeera in Nigeria. Constitution review. Why we prioritize state police, says senator. Stories on page 19. Why we picked women as my running mate. LP presidential candidate says something on that. That's on page 7. Marketers hold fresh purchase over fuel price. IPMAN. Abbas dismisses alleged rift with Uber Sani. Stories on page 21. Tinubu committed to investment in renewable energy, says AIDS. PCRC partners NPF on Safe School Initiative. Stories on page 17. In Benue, troops neutralize 2 suspected terrorists, rescue 3 victims, recover arms. That's on page 7. And finally, Honorable Damaje mourns 9 constituents who died in road crash. That's it on Al Jazeera Nigeria.
Business Diary next. 3 years after reforms, inflation eases, but 35 million Nigerians go hungry amid rising food prices. Page 2, that's the headline from the Business Diary. Equities investors lose 612 billion naira in bearish weekly trading. Page 9. Executive security threats from the FG there on page 12. FG, RIA, ECOWAS unite unproductive use of energy. Page 2. And Nigeria loses 862 billion naira annually to a proliferation of 900 MDAs. Page 4. 4,257 retired customs receive 7.61 billion naira retirement benefits on page 14. And the big one, Spain win 2026 World Cup, beat Argentina 1.
Why wouldn't that be the big one for you too? So why wouldn't that be the big one?
Early for this, please.
Anyway, let's check out now the Business NG. Still on the matter on business, 8 years salary for 1 year's rent. Housing pressure mounts as Lagos, Port Harcourt's rent outpace workers' income. Somebody did not
Abuja
include
should be there,
Abuja.
yes.
You know,
Supposed to be
I was
there.
just going to say that. All right, court rates now. Nigerians tell CBN. This on page 2, and that matter also on the housing issue is also on page 2. Stop using NNPC as ATM. Analyst tells federal government. Opens on the front page here. Continues on page 2. Nice for. I don't know why you're giving me that look. I'm not the one that said it too. Anywho, Lagos leads as Nigerian states. FCT generate 3.78 trillion naira VAT in the first quarter of 2026, or the half quarter of 2026, and that's on page 2. Other stories here. ADC faults Tinubu's policies, says 139 million Nigerians trapped in poverty. That's on page 2. Criticism over alleged 100 million naira, 1,540 plot allocation to APC members on page 2. Don't criminalize gospel preaching in buses, Christian group tells Tinubu. That's on page 2. And that's about it from the business stories and the papers that we've checked out this morning. The Business NG, which is the latest disclosure news, the Whistler newspaper.
All right, Nigerian pilot.
Daily Independent, New Telegraph, and the Business Diary.
Okay.
All right, so
Can we start off with that that account from the Whistler, where the parents, it's rare most times when this abduction and kidnapping come and you release people from the den and then you see a parent giving you an account. This man was saying his 2-year-old child, the Orire kidnapping, the 2-year-old child is part of the people. And so that child is back now and the child's behavior has changed. And he was enumerating, like listing those things that happen. Like now, if you shout at the child, they start crying. The child gets clingy now, doesn't want to leave anybody. You know,
released or freed, from the hands of kidnappers and all of that. It's always advisable for them to go through a process, rehabilitation. Have they gotten that? That's the big question.
they kept on them for 48 hours to supervise them, to be sure medical, but coming back that orientation, just like you're speaking is.
When you see a therapy, it doesn't happen in 48 hours.
No, definitely not. We're talking weeks, months.
Yeah.
He has sleep anxiety now. He has sleep anxiety. He just wakes up, jerks up from the sleep. Can you imagine what that little boy was dreaming?
If adults have something like that when they go to war, they go to the bush,
Yeah.
all of that. Now imagine
a
a child.
2 years old.
So I think
old.
there has to be a process of letting them get back to themselves. So normal feel. It's not going to be easy.
Take a while.
It's a long journey that these parents have to now endure, with their kids,
True.
be by their side, stick it out with them.
True.
But it's just a very sad situation that those kids find themselves and their, loved ones as well.
And the one that really got me so bad was that it was also, enumerating something close to loss of speech, bedwetting, all the things that you probably must have trained your child out of is really, really a huge one. The man giving that account is, I think, Sikiru Abiodun, and he's a farmer at that Yalta village, Ribe local government area. It's quite sad, and I think that
Really,
more,
really sad.
I think that more really needs to be done, just like Chus has mentioned, in terms of
can you
reorientating these children, trying to make them forget. Even maybe now taking that child to school might be a big problem. The child will be seeing school and be seeing nightmare, be thinking things like that. It's not that easy. And it's quite hard sometimes for us to see people come out and give account of what they actually passed through or, their recovery process. We just come and say, oh, thank God they've been released. But you don't know what that trauma, that mentality is like for them. Yes. During the Chibok era, when some of the girls were released, some were given the opportunity to travel abroad, to go stay outside Nigeria. Like, you know what, just leave this environment
Just
entirely. What's happening to these ones now? What's happening with them? Are they going to be given an opportunity to experience another environment away from what they have actually seen here? A two-year-old. I don't pray, but there is medical reports will probably tell you that, or medicine will tell you that this experience might live in this child's psychology for a very long time.
Very long time, definitely. Well, I am interested in the doctor saga thing that you mentioned in one paper. Doctors in government hospitals.
Oh yes. Okay. So this is close to a story like this, and this is also coming from the Whistler. So, a journalist took the 6-month-old niece to the general hospital in Gwarimpa, and they sent them to go do some tests. And by the time they came back around 3:00, the nurse, the people around said, I don't close.
3 p.m.
Yeah, at 3 p.m. I don't close. I don't go do anything again. That was before 3 p.m. So, and she looked around and saw that those who were to sweep are already sweeping. Dusting, like packing
for the
up.
next, they're preparing for the next day already.
And people, I don't know whether it's a she, but the journalist actually went on the ground to, ask, try to investigate, this thing they do, just try to investigate the matter, and only found out that in about in every 3 laboratories, one is working, and the doctors and nurses just get up and leave before, in fact, at the peak of the day, and they'll confidently tell you, I'm done for the day.
Well, I also will. I know we are demonizing, this behavior, but also, I'd also want to speak for them, health practitioners, and to the government workers in the public sector. We've seen in the past where doctors, nurses complain they're not feeling well. They've worked probably 24 hours.
Overstretched.
And not long ago, I think either last month or early this month, a doctor actually died because of that.
Doctor.
He complained, his supervisor didn't give him, the opportunity to go home because they were short-staffed and all of that. And then he ended up dying. So these are problems we're having in our health sector that we need to address. It's not, it shouldn't be done anywhere where a doctor has to be on call for 6 days straight, 5 days straight, without going home, to rest. It's appalling, such a situation. But also, that behavior is not, it's not good.
I mean, the reception to it, that's even the one that I actually have issues with. The reception, the way you just, casually tell the person, I don't close. I think I was looking for the statement where you said the person said, I have closed, and the person refused to review the infant test
result. And it's not like there was
results.
another person on shift.
So I think that's
so that is exactly the reception is the issue.
Done something about it. So, but it's still important that we improve.
I mean, the doctors are human beings too. They're not machines. Even if it is machine, they need to shut down. Attention seems not to be given in. And it's as if it's almost not getting what it's due. I think even in Abuja alone, infrastructure it has more attention than even in the medical sector. There have promises that even the president himself made a promise last year that light no good go off again for inside.
We heard that.
But we're still.
Yes.
Sorry, yeah.
Stop that.
Well, just moving on a little bit. Serap asking us to drop social media shutdown bill or face lawsuit. That's a bit confusing. Like, why are we after social media? We've seen X shut down before, which I feel was infringing on people's freedom of speech to shut down. X that happened on all of that. So now we're revisiting this whole social media thing. I mean, it's freedom of expression. People are allowed to express their opinions. That's where we also get. We pass information.
But then again, there are some parts that you don't want to.
Even these same, politicians, that want to shut down social media and all of that, they still use those platforms. If something happens to them, that's where they run to first.
Exactly.
To complain, to fight. Oh, I'm being sidelined in the NAS, I'm being sidelined in the Senate, I'm being sidelined in the House of Reps, or I'm running for this. It's that platform. That's the first place to go to.
That you go to. These people who are asking for social medias to be shut down have verified accounts. They have accounts where, just like Chusi saying, yes, announces, says this, and look. What are you saying?
For them there as well.
What are you saying,
Nice parts of the social media that are not appealing to the sides of especially children.
If there are some parts that are
be there.
If there are some parts,
look, but you said the social media is a free thing.
No,
so
there is a different. There's a different statement here. The headline says that NAS is asking for it to be shut down, not to be regulated. You see, you are saying entirely close it down. No. It's not going to happen. We are in the computer age, we're in communication age, and we have to grow with it. But you can't
stop a 6.
You can, as a parent, you can.
No, there are one major thing with so many apps or platform, anything communication must have parental restriction. If you're not putting it out there, even in your television, even in your YouTube that you watch, it's parental restriction. The only thing is, you as a parent, unfortunately, the children you are meant to restrict are even the ones teaching you how to make use of it. So you don't learn how to use them, because if you do, you'll be able to regulate this and even know when they are trying to meander. To do what
even you'll get notifications.
Yes.
If somebody uses a phone number that you have to open an account and all of that. So it's not the platform's fault. If a child goes on to register, because obviously they lied about their age.
Yeah,
so you shouldn't. So
you have a Google account. Most of all of these accounts are connected to our Google account. You have a Google account where it also tells you to open for family. You can add numbers there. Anything happening on those numbers, you are notified on those things. They come to you so that you will know what's happening. So restricting is very important. Making sure that you put that on. But it doesn't mean
shutting it down entirely.
And the truth is that some of these platforms too are not just opening their platform and just saying, hey, it's a free. We had the live opportunity on TikTok. A whole lot. People come online to sell, and it was really making it. But a lot of people also use it as an opportunity to mess up. And you know what TikTok did? TikTok removed live without any country even mentioning anything. They removed it, and people came back and started begging. Those who are using it to sell started begging. But TikTok is not ready to do that until they are able to review it. These people are not even keeping their online platforms as per just do what you want. There is something you will post on Instagram today, on Meta account today, and they will take down your account. So you telling me not to use a platform to speak is you gagging me. Is you telling me I don't have a right? So what do you want me to come there and say? Today is that day, amen. Is that what I'm going to come out to do? I will speak, and I will be very civil with my speech. But if it is for me to air opinion, it is a right of every Nigerian to air an opinion. Just be very civil about it. Don't go overboard. Don't insult anyone. But air your opinion with points. That's the most important thing.
But before we go, congratulations to Badijo Okunsoya.
Exactly.
President. And in words, I'll lead with fairness, accountability. So,
this is since 1991, since Priscilla Akuyu, or I can't remember the surname again, that we ever had a president for the Nigerian Bar Association. It is a huge one. Also buttressing what we had also said earlier about women being, in that, young
girls, who professionals in whatever area of specialization and all of that. So inspiring the generation. So hopefully,
Don't give up.
Don't give up,
Her
yeah.
time there will do a whole lot for the NBA. and professionals.
Cheggy, please do not say anything about sports. Can we?
Yes,
round
to
this-
sports. I must say
Can we
something
round
about
this up? I think the
sports.
time is.
Come on to the
You
news.
brought it up. You brought it up.
I guess Argentina were sore losers yesterday, throwing punches
Oh my
at Rodri.
God.
Almost the Argentine staff. I've forgotten his
Why
name.
didn't they
Threw a
even
punch.
play like
And then
their
they were
life
just-
depended
They
on
did
it?
their
Why were
best.
they so?
They-
I mean,
what do
they
you
broke my
think?
heart.
So how do
They
you
did
punch
their
a
best.
fellow footballer? How do you punch your fellow footballer because he was running to the fans to celebrate?
Was it
You are-
Yes, they were fighting.
No,
So
of
he's
course
big.
they were
So
because they are
absolutely
probably
no
they
shame.
are already angry. But you had a whole 90 minutes and you didn't
Yeah,
do
but
anything
it's a 90.
productive with your 90
But
minutes.
yeah,
The Spain scored it
Plus
after
extra
time,
30.
after half
We had
time.
extra
So what are you
30.
saying?
No, is it not on until Spain scored before they decided to wake up from their slumber? I mean,
yeah,
who's
that's
doing
true.
that? I mean,
Congratulations to Spain. Football won. God won.
Whatever.
The entire world won.
Whatever.
I am so sorry, Messi. This history will not be written at all because I thought he was going to finish up and go on.
Our boss is saying let's
He did not cry. He did not cry.
Like I
He did
showed
not
you
cry.
the
He did not cry. No, I
Not to
just
see the
said I
video.
just said that he cried.
Anyways, thank you so much for being a part of this one. Let's take you to the network studio for more. Good morning.